We will now take a look at the Poomsae of Taegeuk Iljang. Taegeuk Iljang consists of 9 key moves, namely 기본 준비 자세, 아래막기, 지르기, 안맞기, 올려맞기, 앞차기, 나란히 서기, 앞서기, and 앞구비. These are the basics to the 9 key moves of Taegeuk Iljang. We will now take a closer look at each of the key moves of Taegeuk Iljang. 기본 준비 자세 begins with 모아서기, where you can stand and move your left foot about a foot's length to your left. Breathe in. Open your fists and raise them from the lower abdomen up to the solar plexus. Breathe out. Then lower your fists back to the lower abdomen. Your face, torso, and lower body should be balanced along the center line, and your weight should be placed evenly on both feet. Both elbows should be bent like the internal angles of a hexagram, and your fists should be placed apart about a fist's length. Retain 30% of your breath in the lower abdomen once the preparatory move is complete, and be careful not to raise or tense your shoulders. 아래막기 is a technique used to block an opponent's attack towards the lower body with your outer wrist. The blocking arm's elbow should be straightened in a way that positions your fist above your knees about 2 fists' length, and the wrist on the supporting arm should be straightened so that the back of your hand faces down and the wrist touches above the waist. The torso and arm should spin simultaneously, and the blocking arm's elbow should not move in a straight line, 지르기. 지르기 is a technique used to attack an opponent's torso by thrusting with the fist. The thrusting arm should be straightened, and your fist should form a straight line with the target's philtrum, solar plexus, lower abdomen, etc. The wrist of your supporting arm should be straightened so that the back of your hand faces down and the wrist touches above the waist. The thrusting arm should move straight forward, slightly brushing the waist. Your elbow should not open outwards, and the supporting arm should be pulled back, slightly brushing your waist as well. The supporting arm should not be pulled back excessively, pulling the shoulder along with it. The spin of the thrusting wrist should complete once your fist makes contact with the target. It is important to keep a straight line when punching a target with your fist. 안맞기 is a technique used to defend from an opponent's outside attack using the outer wrist. The outer wrist should be level with the solar plexus, and the location of your fist should coincide with the central line. When initiating the move, the hand of your supporting arm should be slightly straightened at the level of the solar plexus, and the hand of the defending arm should protect inwardly. The beginning position is about a fist's length above the shoulder. The elbow of your defending arm should defend by pulling towards the torso, and the elbow of the supporting arm should be pulled slightly, brushing your waist at the same time. 올려맞기 is a technique used to protect from an opponent's attack towards the face by raising your outer wrist. Cross your arms in front of your solar plexus and protect from an opponent's attack by raising them upwards. The fist on the defending arm should be above the elbow. The arm should be tilted with a space about the size of a fist between the back of the wrist and the forehead. Be careful not to raise your arm excessively, leaving space between the head and arms when seen from the front. Uptugi is a technique used to kick towards a front target in a straight line. The kick should be made with your leg bent so that the kicking leg starts on top of the knee of your supporting leg. The forward kicking leg should be bent in a way where your front sole touches the ground first, and your breathing and moves should complete when your rear sole touches the ground. Train this technique using coordination of the upper and lower body. Naranhisogi consists of keeping your feet parallel so that the back of the foot blades face each other, straightening your knees, and stand naturally as if stopping after walking. The center of your body should be placed in between your feet, the chest relaxed. The distance between your feet for apsogi is about 1 step. The center of your body should be placed between your feet, and your body should stand straight. The back of the foot blade on the front foot and the inner part of the heel on the hind foot should be on the same line, and the sole of the hind foot should face outwards with a tilt of around 30 degrees. Apgubi is a standing posture where the knee on the front leg is bent and the 2 legs are spread apart front to back. The distance between the front and hind foot should be about 1.5 steps, and the space between the 2 feet should be about the length of a fist. The knee and foot of the front leg should face forward, and the sole of the hind foot should face outwards with a tilt of around 30 degrees. The knee of your front leg should not bend excessively, nor should it be sticking out in front of the tip of the foot. Your hind leg should straighten in a straight line. These are the basics to the 9 key moves of Taegeuk Iljang. We will now look at the 9 moves in succession, connecting each move. The key moves of Taegeuk Iljang. First part consists of wen are maki, oren jirugi, oren are maki, wen jirugi, wen are maki, and oren jirugi. Shift your weight to the sole of your right foot. Move your left foot lightly, brushing the ground so the sole of the left foot touches the ground before the other. Your breathing should be identical to that of maki, the movement your rear sole touches the ground, completing the move. Nediki should be performed softly, naturally with 2 knees. Backward doradiki from oren apsogi. Oren jirugi should be performed with your weight on the sole of the left foot. The heel of the right foot should not be above the ground when performing wen apgubi neryomaki. Cautions for Taegeuk Iljang. First part. Taking a closer look. When performing jirugi, be careful not to pull back the shoulder of the supporting arm. When performing nediki, be careful not to let the rear sole touch the ground first. When performing aremaki, be careful not to bend your elbows excessively and naturally connect to jirugi. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Iljang. First part in succession, slowly while watching the video. Taegeuk Iljang. Second part consists of wen anmaki, oren jirugi, oren anmaki, wen jirugi, oren aremaki, and wen jirugi. When connecting to oren apsogi and wen anmaki from the previous move, push on the ground with your right foot and shift your weight to the left foot. Then perform wen anmaki by pulling your right foot. Then, when performing the wen apsogi and oren jirugi, set your feet and release the tension in the defending arm and connect to jirugi. It is important to maintain equal tension on both arms when performing jirugi and refrain from exerting unnecessary force. Then, place weight on the sole of the right foot, turn and set, move your left arm facing the direction of progress, and perform the preparatory anmaki move with your right arm. Complete anmaki, the moment the rear sole of the left foot touches the ground. Cautions for Taegeuk Iljang, second part, taking a closer look. When performing oren apsogi, wen anmaki, do not put your feet together and perform wen apsogi and wen anmaki. Your elbow should not move away from the body when performing anmaki. This is in order to properly transfer the energy from the spinning of the torso to the arm. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Iljang, second part in succession slowly while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Iljang, third part, consist of wen 얼굴막기, 오른 앞차기, and 오른 지르기, 오른 얼굴막기, wen 앞차기, and wen 지르기. When performing 얼굴막기, protect the face by crossing your defending arm from under your supporting arm. The fist on the defending arm should be raised first. Then move your hand slightly up to face level and defend by snapping the elbow up. Your other fist should be pulled to the waist and aligned with the center line of the wrist protecting the face. The space between the back of the wrist of the defending arm and forehead should be about the size of a fist, and the elbow above the fist should be tilted downwards. Cautions for Taegeuk Iljang, third part, taking a closer look. Be careful not to let the elbow of the defending arm fall back. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Iljang, third part in succession slowly while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Iljang, fourth part, consist of wen aremaki and oren jirugi. Push on the ground following the previous move. Place weight on the right foot. Turn and set your left foot 90 degrees inwardly. Perform the wen apgubi and wen aremaki. Set your foot for apgubi sogi and shout with oren jirugi simultaneously. Place weight on the right foot. Turn and set baro. Cautions for Taegeuk Iljang, fourth part, taking a closer look. When setting your foot from apgubi sogi to the next apgubi sogi, be careful not to let your height change. Also, be careful not to perform multiple moves when turning to baro. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Iljang, fourth part in succession slowly while watching the video. This concludes training for Taegeuk Iljang. We will take another look at all the moves and master Pumse. We will now take a look at the Pumse of Taegeuk Iljang. Taegeuk Ijang consists of one key move, 얼굴 지르기. We will now take a closer look at the key move of Taegeuk Ijang, 얼굴 지르기. 얼굴 지르기 is a move where you thrust your fist in a straight line toward the opponent's philtrum. Be careful not to let the elbow of your thrusting arm move outward. That was the key move of Taegeuk Ijang. We will now connect the moves in succession and take a closer look at each one. The key moves of Taegeuk Ijang, first part, consist of 왼 아래막기, 오른 지르기, 오른 아래막기, 왼 지르기, 오른 안막기, and 왼 안막기. When moving the center of your body forward during 앞서기 아래막기, control your breath, lower your body and set forward. Then thrust your body with 앞굽이. The moment the foot setting forward touches the ground, complete the 지르기 simultaneously with the move and breath. When setting your right foot forward during 오른 안막기, breathe in while moving the center of your body to your left foot. Remove any unnecessary force from both feet and seek the body's optimal condition to perform the 오른 앞서기 and 왼 안막기 afterwards. Cautions for Taegeuk Ijang, first part, taking a closer look. Your torso and arms must spin simultaneously. Move the center of your body and breathe in once the move is complete and remove any unnecessary force from your muscles. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Ijang, first part, in succession slowly while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Ijang, second part, consist of 왼 아래막기, 오른 앞차기, and 오른 지르기. 오른 아래막기, 왼 앞차기, and 왼 지르기. 왼 얼굴막기, and 오른 얼굴막기. The connection of 앞차기 and 지르기 should be made so the momentum gained after the 앞차기 folds the kicking leg, resulting in a natural connection with 지르기. When connecting 얼굴막기 and the next 얼굴막기, the elbow of the arm that protected the face should come down first, and the first placed on the waist should be raised so your arms will be crossed at the chest and ready to perform the 얼굴막기. Cautions for Taegeuk Ijang, second part, taking a closer look. Be careful not to let your leg rise above your head when performing 앞차기. It is important that the move connects naturally to 지르기. Be careful not to let the natural flow be broken. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Ijang, second part, in succession slowly while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Ijang, third part, consist of 오른 안막기 and 왼 안막기. From the 얼굴막기, shift your weight on your right foot, spin 270 degrees, and perform 돌아딛기. When connecting 안막기, 안막기, and 돌아딛기, shift your weight on your left foot and spin. Your right arm should face the direction of progress. Spin the pelvis, which is the center axis, then perform 안막기 with the left arm. Cautions for Taegeuk Ijang, third part, taking a closer look. Be careful not to raise your right leg too much when performing 돌아딛기. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Ijang, third part, in succession slowly while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Ijang, fourth part, consist of 왼 아래막기, 오른 앞차기, and 오른 지르기, 왼 앞차기, and 왼 지르기, 오른 앞타기, and 오른 jirugi. The three aptagi and jirugi moves must all be performed in succession. Pay close attention to the connection of each move. Cautions for Taegeuk Ijang, fourth part, taking a closer look. The target for aptagi is in the front, and be careful not to kick above your head. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Ijang, fourth part, in succession slowly while watching the video. This concludes training for Taegeuk Ijang. We will take another look at the moves and master Pumse. We will now take a look at the Pumse of Taegeuk Samjang. Taegeuk Samjang consists of four key moves, namely 손날 앉히기, 손날 바깥맞기, 뒷굽이, and double jirugi. These are the four key moves of Taegeuk Samjang. We will now take a closer look at each of the key moves of Taegeuk Samjang. Before explaining 손날 앉히기, we will first look at ways to make the hand blade 손날. The hand blade, used in the move, extends from the wrist to the first joint of the little finger. First, open your hand. Place the four fingers from the index to the little finger together. Then, bend the tip of the thumb and place it on top of the first joint of the index finger. And bend the tips a little inward. After making the hand blade as described, place the wrist of the thrusting arm at shoulder level and the supporting arm at the solar plexus level. Next, slightly twist your torso and perform the 손날 앉히기 move by pulling both elbows towards your body. After completing the 손날 앉히기, place your supporting hand back at the wrist. The wrist of the striking hand should be straight, and your hand blade should be raised near your neck level. 손날 바깥맞기 is also a technique that uses the hand blade in the same way as the previous move. You protect the body from the inside out and begin with two arms crossed in front of the chest. The defending arm and supporting arm should be placed on the outside and inside respectively when the arms are crossed. The tip of the hand of the defending arm should not be above the shoulder when defending, and the elbow should face downward. Be careful not to let the wrist bend, and the hand blade should not be outside the end of the line extending from the torso. When doing the Duikgubi posture, your feet should form a 90-degree angle, and the direction of your knees and feet should be identical. The center of your body should be 2/3 towards the back. Move your left foot one step forward, and stand low like you would for Juchumsogi. Double Judogi is just what the name implies: 2 Judogi moves in succession. Control your breath and quickly perform the Judogi as if pulling your elbows to your waist. The force exerted and speed of your arms must be in balance. These are the 4 key moves of Taegeuk Samjang. We will now look at the moves in succession connecting each move. The key moves of Taegeuk Samjang, first part, consists of wen aremaki, oren apchagi, and double judogi. Oren aremaki, wen apchagi, and double judogi. Oren sonnar anchigi, and wen sonnar anchigi. When performing oren apchagi, bend your legs using momentum and first touch the ground with your front sole. Then quickly continue with oren judogi while breathing once your rear sole touches the ground. The important thing is to quickly connect the judogi moves. You can achieve this by controlling your breath, removing unnecessary force, and making use of your spinning torso. When performing dorattiki, push on the ground with your front foot, shifting your weight on the hind foot, and naturally turn around and set your foot. When moving your center forward one step during wen apsogi and oren anchigi, move your left hand back and place one fist above the shoulder. Naturally straighten your right arm forward, set your right foot one step forward, then perform oren apsogi and wen sonnar anchigi. Naturally straighten your right arm forward, then perform anchigi, pulling your right elbow to your waist while doing this. Cautions for Taegeuk Samjang, first part. Taking a closer look. When connecting apchagi and double judogi, the sole of the kicking foot should touch the ground first, followed by the rear sole. When performing double judogi, be careful not to exert unnecessary force. Use only muscular strength. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Samjang, first part in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Samjang, second part, consist of wen sonnar pakatmaki, oren judogi, oren sonnar pakatmaki, wen judogi, oren anmaki, and wen anmaki. During sonnar pakatmaki, the hand blade is used to defend by striking and is also intended to hold the opponent. Push on the ground with your right foot from the oren duikgubi position and move your left foot forward about 1.5 steps. The transition to wen apgubi. Shift your weight to your left foot. Raise the rear sole of your left foot and spin your heel using the sole as an axis. Then move and set your right foot to complete the duikgubi. When moving your center forward during wen apsogi and oren anmaki, you can perform the preparatory move by moving your left hand back and placing it about one fist above the shoulder, then naturally straightening your right arm forward. The right arm must naturally straighten forward, and then the oren apsogi and wen anmaki can be performed by moving one step forward when doing this. Cautions for Taegeuk Samjang, second part, taking a closer look. Be careful not to perform doradiki with your rear sole. When connecting to jirugi after Dwikubi Solnar Bakkanmagi, do not perform jirugi after shifting your weight backwards. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Samjang Part 2 in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Samjang, third part, consist of wen aremaki, oren apchagi, and double jirugi, oren aremaki, and wen apchagi and double jirugi. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Samjang, third part, in succession slowly while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Samjang, fourth part, consist of wen aremaki and oren jirugi, oren aremaki and wen jirugi, wen apchagi and wen aremaki and oren jirugi, oren apchagi and oren maki and wen jirugi. Control your breath after aremaki and continue with oren jirugi by pulling the left below. I will try to explain the flow of the last moves of Taegeuk Samjang for easier understanding. Fold your legs using the momentum right after apchagi, and at the same time prepare for aremaki. You can then quickly connect the next aremaki and jirugi and add the shout. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Samjang, fourth part, in succession slowly while watching the video. This concludes the training for Taegeuk Samjang. We will take another look at all the moves and master Pumse. We will now take a look at the Pumse of Taegeuk Samjang. Taegeuk Samjang consists of 5 key moves, namely Sonnar Godoro Maki, Pyeonsonggut Sewo Jirugi, 제비품 앉히기, 옆차기, and 등주먹 앞치기. These are the 5 key moves of Taegeuk Sajang. We will now take a closer look at each of the key moves of Taegeuk Sajang. 손날 godoro maki is a technique of defending using 2 hands, where the supporting hand assists when performing 손날 bakanmaki. The hand defending the torso should be placed at the solar plexus level, while the supporting hand should be placed at the elbow level of the defending arm. The elbow of the supporting arm should be placed where it crosses the center line. The space between the outer wrist of the supporting arm and the torso should be about 1 hand blade, and the elbow should be placed naturally close to the torso. Be careful not to let the elbow rise due to the opening of the armpit of the supporting arm. 편손끝 세워 찌르기 is a technique to pierce an opponent's pressure points using the tip of your hand. This has the effect of concentrating force in one place with high pressure as the area of contact with an opponent is small. You can prevent injuries and concentrate your force by placing the index, middle, and the ring finger together in a straight line. Be careful not to let your wrist bend when performing jirugi. 제비품 앉히기 is a technique that uses 손날 얼굴막이 and 손날 앉히기 at the same time. Perform the preparatory move by placing the left hand in front of the torso and the wrist of the right hand above the shoulder. Remove unnecessary force. Tilt the body about 45 degrees and then simultaneously perform 왼손날 얼굴막이 and 오른손날 앉히기. The right hand should be placed at the neck level with the elbows slightly bent. The hand that performed 앉히기 should be placed at the crossing with the center line in front, and your torso should stand straight. Be careful not to lose balance or let your torso swerve to the right due to excessive twisting. 옆차기 is a technique to kick a front target sideways using a foot blade or rear sole. The kicking leg should be raised higher than the supporting knee above the waist. Bend your knee, twist your pelvis, and straighten your leg to kick. Twist the heel of the supporting leg to face the direction of the kick. Your shoulder, hips, and heel should form a straight line. Be careful not to let the heel of your supporting leg twist too early in the direction of the kick. All moves should be performed in one succession without interruption. I will show you in one quick motion by connecting them with the 옆차기 technique. 등주먹 앞치기 is a technique used to strike an opponent's face in front of you with the back of the fist. Your arms should cross at the solar plexus level, and the striking fist should pass under the supporting arm, making an arc. The back of the fist should be at the philtrum level, along the center line when seen from the front. Be careful not to let the elbow of the striking arm point outward. These are the 5 key moves of Taegeuk Sajang. We will now look at the moves in succession, connecting each move. The key moves of Taegeuk Sajang first part consist of 왼손날 고드러맞기, 오른 편손끝 세워 찌르기, 오른손날 고드러맞기, and 왼 편손끝 세워 찌르기. Shift your weight to your right foot while performing 왼손날 고드러맞기. Your left hand should prepare for 바탕손 눌러맞기 and pull your supporting hand to your waist. Then perform 눌러맞기 with your left hand while setting your right foot forward, and 변손 끝 세워 지르기 with your right hand at the same time. The right elbow should lightly touch the back of your left hand when performing jirugi. Cautions for Taegeuk sajang, first part, taking a closer look. Be careful not to let the right foot draw an arc when turning around to set your foot during oren apgubi. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk sajang, first part, in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk sajang, second part, consist of 오른 제비품 안치기, 오른 앞차기, and 왼 지르기, 왼 옆차기, 오른 옆차기, and 오른 손날 고드러 맞기. After performing 왼 옆차기, take one step forward with the kicking foot, then connect to 오른 옆차기. After performing 오른 옆차기, bend the knee and prepare for the 고드러맞기 move. Then, set your right foot and perform 손날 고드러맞기 at the same time. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk sajang second part in succession slowly while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk sajang third part consist of 왼 바깥 맞기, 오른 앞차기, and 오른 안 맞기, 오른 바깥 맞기, 왼 앞차기, and 왼 안 맞기, 오른 제비품 안치기, 오른 앞차기, and 오른 둥주목 앞치기. When turning around to set your foot with 오른 뒷구비 and 왼 바깥 맞기 during the previous move, shift your weight to your right foot and use your sole to turn and transition to 오른 뒷구비. Cautions for Taegeuk sajang, third part, taking a closer look. Be careful not to twist your upper body excessively when performing anmaki. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk sajang, third part, in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk sajang fourth part consist of 왼 안맞기, 오른 지르기, 오른 안맞기, 왼 지르기, 왼 안맞기, and double 지르기, 오른 안맞기, and double 지르기. When setting your foot after performing 오른 지르기 and turning around, shift your weight to your left foot and use the sole of your left foot to spin your torso clockwise. Make the preparatory anmaki move with the right arm. Complete doratiki, then perform oren anmaki. Cautions for Taegeuk sajang, fourth part, taking a closer look. Please keep in mind that it is very important to quickly connect the 3 consecutive moves when going from anmaki to double jirugi. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk sajang, fourth part, in succession slowly while watching the video. This concludes the training for Taegeuk sajang. We will take another look at all the moves and master pumse. We will now take a look at the Pumse of Taegeuk Ojang. Taegeuk Ojang consists of 5 key moves, namely 매주먹 내려치기, 팔꿈치 돌려치기, 팔꿈치 벼적치기, 고아서기, and 엽서기. These are the key moves of Taegeuk Ojang. We will now take a closer look at each of the key moves of Taegeuk Ojang. 매주먹 내려치기 is a technique used to strike an opponent by drawing a big descending circle with your hammer fist. While your arms cross at the solar plexus, your assisting arm should face outward. The striking hand should pass under the assisting arm. Draw an arc above your head and stop at the shoulder line with your arm naturally straightened. Your fist should not stop at the head. Be careful not to let your arm bend. 팔꿈치 돌려치기 is a technique used to strike with the elbow in a swinging motion. Bend your elbow so the back of your hand faces upward. Place the fist in front of the shoulder of your striking arm. Spin your torso and strike. The elbow should be slightly above your shoulder. Your chest should open up when performing the move. The elbow and fist should be placed along the same line. Be careful not to let your fist fall below your shoulder. The assisting hand should be open. Assist the 팔꿈치 돌려치기 by letting it touch the palm of the hand assisting the first of the swinging arm. Do not hold your fist with the open hand of the assisting arm. 팔꿈치 벼적치기 is a technique used to create a target by opening your assisting hand, twisting your torso about 45 degrees, and striking a target with the elbow. The elbow of the arm creating a target should be slightly bent and at solar plexus elevation. Be careful not to let the palm of the assisting hand hit your elbow or hold your elbow with your hand. 고아서기 is a posture where you bend your knees by twisting your feet, using a low stance 1 fist's width between your feet. Stand low like 주춤서기, with the shin of one leg touching the calf of the other. 앞고아서기 refers to moving sideways and performing 고아서기 in front of the supporting leg, while 뒤고아서기 refers to placing the other foot behind the forward foot to perform 고아서기, then coming to a halt. Be careful not to let your shin and calf part. 엽서기 is a posture where you twist one foot 90 degrees outward from the 나란히서기 posture. Straighten your knees and stand naturally with 1 foot's length between your feet. Your center should be between your feet. These are the key moves of Taegeuk Ojang. We will now look at the moves in succession, connecting each move. The key moves of Taegeuk Ojang, first part, consist of 왼 아래막기, 왼 매주먹 내려치기, 오른 아래막기, and 오른 매주먹 내려치기. Push off the ground with your front foot from 앞구비 아래막기. Move your center to your hind leg. Stand in 엽서기 posture. Then perform 매주먹 내려치기. All must be performed in one continuous motion. Your eyes should follow the direction of Pumse. Cautions for Taegeuk Ojang, first part, taking a closer look. Do not perform Mejumok Neryochigi in a similar fashion to Dungjungmok Pakachigi, and your first should not pass in front of your face when striking. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Ojang, first part, in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Ojang, second part, consist of wen anmaki and oren anmaki, oren apchagi and oren dungjungmok apchigi, and wen anmaki, wen apchagi and wen dungjungmok apchigi, and oren anmaki, and oren dungjungmok apchigi. Breathe in after performing wen maki, then connect to oren maki. Bend your knee using the momentum from apchagi, then perform the preparatory dungjungmok apchigi move. After the kicking foot touches ground, connect the dungjungmok apchigi and anmaki. Concentrate on the use of your breath and muscles and coordinate spinning of the torso while connecting the moves. Cautions for Taegeuk Ojang, second part, taking a closer look. Connect the moves so the wen anmaki and oren anmaki flow naturally. The target for dungjungmok apchigi is above the philtrum. Be careful not to let your fist rise above your shoulder when performing anmaki. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Ojang, second part, in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Ojang, third part, consist of 왼손날 바깥맞기, 오른 팔꿈치 돌려치기, 오른 손날 바깥맞기, 왼 팔꿈치 돌려치기, 왼 아래맞기, and 오른 안맞기, 오른 앞차기, and 오른 아래맞기, and 왼 안맞기. Bend your knee using the momentum from apchagi, then perform the preparatory aremaki move. Then connect aremaki and anmaki when the kicking foot touches the ground. Cautions for Taegeuk Ojang, third part, taking a closer look. Apchagi and aremaki, anmaki moves should all be performed in succession. When performing 팔꿈치 돌려치기, the targeting hand should not wrap around the elbow. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Ojang, third part, in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Ojang, fourth part, consist of wen 얼굴맞기, 오른 옆차기, and wen 팔꿈치 벼적치기, 오른 얼굴맞기, wen 옆차기, and 오른 팔꿈치 벼적치기, wen 아래맞기, and 오른 안맞기, and 오른 앞차기, and 오른 dungjungmok 앞치기. When performing 얼굴맞기, the first of the blocking arm should start from outside of the assisting arm, making a cross in front of the torso, then blocking the face. When performing 옆차기, cross your arm, making your targeting arm pull to the back, and straighten while drawing an arc as if performing 매주목 바깥치기. Your leg and arm should be parallel when performing this move. 옆차기, and the movement of both arms should be performed simultaneously. Bend your knee using the momentum from 옆차기, then create a target by opening your hand. Twist your torso about 45 degrees and strike a target at solar plexus elevation with your elbow. Arm and hand movements should be performed simultaneously. When performing 앞차기 and 등중목 앞치기, the foot blade of the striking foot should maintain a 45-degree angle when seen from the front. Complete the move by performing 등중목 앞치기 the moment the following foot touches the ground. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Ojang, fourth part, in succession while watching the video. This concludes the training for Taegeuk Ojang. We will take another look at all the moves and master Pumse. We will now take a look at the Pumse of Taegeuk Yukjang. Taegeuk Yukjang consists of 5 key moves: 손날 얼굴 비틀어 맞기, 돌려차기, 얼굴 바깥 맞기, 아래 헤쳐 맞기, and 바탕손 안 맞기. These are the key moves of Taegeuk Yukjang. We will now take a closer look at each of the key moves of Taegeuk Yukjang. 손날 얼굴 비틀어 맞기 is a technique used to perform 얼굴 바깥 맞기, using the performance thrusting foot and the opposite hand blade. First, twist your torso about 45 degrees from the 앞구비 posture. Your arms should cross and pass in front of your face, and 바깥 맞기 performed with the tip of your hands facing upward. Your blocking arm should cross outside your assisting arm. Be careful not to let your hand blade move outside the end of the line from your shoulder. The knee of your hind leg should not bend, and your sole must not leave the ground. 돌려차기 is a technique used to spin and kick a target. Your kicking foot draws an arc outside in. Use the top of your foot and ball to strike the target. After kicking a target, perform a spinning kick by twisting your torso as if you're spinning your shoulder on the same side backwards. 바깥 맞기 is a technique used to block, defend your face inside out using your wrist. Your blocking arm should cross past your face from outside your assisting arm to perform the 바깥 맞기. Your elbow should point downward, your fist upward, and at a philtrum elevation. Be careful not to let your blocking wrist move outside the end of the line from your shoulder when performing the move. Are hechomaki is a technique used to block the lower body by crossing your arms in an X formation. It begins with your arms crossed in an X formation in front of your chest. Lower your arms to your lower abdomen, then block the lower part of your body from both sides. When blocking your lower body, your arms should straighten naturally, and the space between your fist and legs should be about 2 raised fists' length. Also, the back of your hammer fist and your front thigh should be aligned when seen from the front. Batangson Anmaki is a technique used to block, defend the torso inward by using the palm of your hand. Raise the fist of your assisting arm slightly to your solar plexus level. Your blocking hand should start about 1 hand length above your shoulder to block inward. When blocking, the palm of your hand should be placed in front of your solar plexus and your armpit should be touching your body. Your elbow should point downward. Block by pulling the elbow of your blocking arm to your body and pull the elbow of your assisting arm at the same time, brushing the waist. These are the key moves of Taegeuk Yukjang. We will now look at the moves in succession, connecting each move. The key moves of Taegeuk Yukjang, first part, consist of 오른 아래막기, 오른 앞차기, and 왼 바깥막기, and 왼 앞차기, and 오른 몸통 바깥막기. Bend your knee after performing 앞차기. Then perform preparatory 바깥막기 by crossing both arms in front of your chest. Complete the maki by touching the ground with your kicking foot. Concentrate on naturally connecting the 2 moves when training. Cautions for Taegeuk Yukjang, first part, taking a closer look. When performing 뒤로 돌아딛기, by spinning 180 degrees from 오른 뒷굽이, shift your weight to your left leg. Spin using the ball of your foot as an axis, then set your foot. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Yukjang, first part in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Yukjang, second part, consist of 오른 밑으로 막기, 오른 돌려차기, and 왼 바깥막기, and 오른 지르기. 오른 앞차기, and 왼 지르기. 오른 바깥막기, and 왼 지르기. 왼 앞차기, and 오른 지르기. And 아래 헤쳐막기. After performing 오른 돌려차기, set your foot so the tip of your kicking foot points in the direction of progression about 1.5 steps forward. Then, set your left foot 90 degrees to the left and perform 바깥막기 and 오른 지르기 in succession. After 앞차기, bend your knee and perform preparatory 지르기. Then complete 지르기 when the kicking foot touches the ground. Cautions for Taegeuk Yukjang, second part, taking a closer look. When setting your kicking foot forward after 돌려차기, your steps should not be too narrow. When your arms cross during 아래 헤쳐막기, the inside-outside of your arms must switch. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Yukjang, second part, in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Yukjang, third part, consist of 왼 밑으로 막기, 왼 돌려차기, and 오른 아래 막기, 왼 앞차기, and 오른 바깥 막기, 왼 아래 막기, and 오른 앞차기, and 왼 바깥 막기. After performing 왼 돌려차기, set your kicking foot about 1.5 steps forward. Set your right foot backwards. Then spin your torso to the right. Perform oren aremaki by spinning and setting your foot backwards in one move using the ball of your left foot as an axis. Bend your knee after apchagi. Then perform preparatory bakadmaki by crossing your arms in front of your chest. Complete maki by setting your kicking foot. Always keep in mind that the two moves should connect naturally. Cautions for Taegeuk Yukjang, third part, taking a closer look. Always remember that moves consisting of 2 or 3 consecutive moves must connect naturally without any break. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Yukjang third part in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Yukjang, fourth part, consist of 왼손날 고드로마기, 오른손날 고드로마기, 왼바탕손 안마기, and 오른 지르기, and 오른 바탕손 안마기, and 왼 지르기. Shift your weight to your left foot from the previous move. Set your right foot 90 degrees to the right. Then perform 왼손날 고드로마기 and 지르기. Next, shift your weight to your right foot. Set your left foot back. Twist your torso. Then take the preparatory sonalmaki posture. At the same time, your left heel should also point in the direction of your set back foot. Place the palm of your hand in front of your solar plexus. Be careful not to let your armpits move away from your body, and your elbows should point downward. Quickly transition to jirugi after performing batangson maki. Set your foot backwards in a straight line. Cautions for Taegeuk Yukjang, fourth part, taking a closer look. When assuming the baro posture, move your front foot backwards. When stepping back, the foot moving back should set first and not draw an arc in the process. Be careful not to overdo the spin the moment your foot touches the ground. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Yukjang, fourth part, in succession while watching the video. This concludes the training for Taegeuk Yukjang. We will take another look at the moves and master Pumse. We will now take a look at the Pumse of Chiljang. Taegeuk Chiljang consists of 13 key moves, namely 손날 꼬들어 아래막기, 꼬들어 바탕손 안막기, 보주먹, 가위막기, 무릎치기, 헤쳐막기, 두 주먹 젖혀지르기, 엇걸어 아래막기, 등주먹 바깥치기, 표척차기, 옆지르기, 범서기, and 주춤서기. These are the 13 key moves of Taegeuk Chiljang. We will now take a closer look at each of the key moves of Taegeuk Chiljang. 손날 아래막기 is a technique used to block, defend the lower body with your arms and with the help from an assisting hand. The blocking hand is placed over the knee, forward, about 2 fists length apart. The assisting hand is raised to the same level as the elbow of the arm blocking the lower body. The wrist of the assisting arm is placed where it crosses the center line. The space between the outer wrist and torso should be about 1 hand blade apart. The elbow should be naturally close to the torso. Be careful not to let your blocking hand move outside the line connecting your leg and body. The assisting armpit should not detach from your body, making the elbow rise up. 꼬들어 바탕손 안막기 is also a blocking technique. When initiating this move, straighten the assisting arm slightly at the solar plexus level. Start your blocking hand 1 hand's length above your shoulder and block inwards. Place the palm of your hand on the blocking arm in front of the solar plexus. The back of the assisting hand should point upward and assist by letting the elbow of the blocking arm lightly rest on it. Block by pulling the elbow of the blocking arm towards the body and pull your assisting arm. 보주먹 is a move to envelop the right closed fist with the left hand. The 4 fingers of your left hand wrap around the 4 fingers of your right fist. The left thumb wraps around the right thumb. The space between your fists should be a sheet of paper's width. The assisting fist starts in front of the lower abdomen and is raised to the front of the philtrum, passing the front of the chest. The internal angle of your arm should be between 90 degrees and 120 degrees. 가위막기 is a maki move that performs 안팔목 바깥막기 and 아래막기 at the same time. It starts with both arms crossed in front of the chest. The wrist of the arm performing 안팔목 바깥막기 should be placed at the solar plexus level, and your fist must not rise above your shoulder. The fist that performed 아래막기 should maintain its position 2 raised fists above the knee. 무릎치기 is a technique used to kick upwards with the knee by folding the leg. Kick upwards with your knee folded as much as possible. 헤쳐막기 is a technique used to block inside out simultaneously by crossing your wrists in front of your chest. Your fists must be in front of your shoulders when blocking. Your elbows should point downward, and your 2 armpits should softly touch your torso. 두 주먹 젖혀지르기 is a technique used to bend back and thrust by pointing the back of your hand downward. Your 2 fists start at the back, with the backs of your hands facing upward, and thrust downward after bending back. The key targets are 정광 and 협복 pressure points. When thrusting, keep your arms in, touching the torso, and place your elbows close to your torso. Jochojirugi should be performed by thrusting upward slightly from below. When performing this move, the elbow should not move away from the body too much. Your fists must not open outward. Be careful not to let your fists rise above the elbow level or thrust downward. Otkoro aremaki is a technique used to block in front of the lower abdomen by making a diagonal loop with the two wrists. For wen apgubi, start with your right arm back and cross your right arm upwards. For oren apgubi, start with your left arm back and cross your left arm upwards. Both elbows should be touching your torso. Dungjumok bakachigi starts with the first of the opposite shoulder. The assisting arm should cross below the thrusting arm to initiate the preparatory move. Then, strike a target with the back of your fist using the torque of your torso. Your fist should align with your shoulder line, and your elbow should be naturally straight. Pyojokchagi is a technique used to create a target with the palm of your hand. Kick outside in using the foot blade. Be careful not to kick with the sole of your foot. Yopjurugi is a technique used to thrust sideways while standing sideways like Juchumsogi. The flow of force progress transferred from the ground is pushed up to the fist through the elbow. Bomsogi posture is achieved by shifting your weight on your hind leg and standing low after setting your front foot forward about a foot length from the tip of the big toe to your hind foot. Raise your heel so only the ball of the front foot touches the ground. And support your weight with your hind leg so that your weight is distributed equally on both your hind and front leg 9-1. Slowly tighten legs inward and stand with your knees tilted forward. Be careful not to let your upper body move too much forward or backward. The last of the 13 key movements is Juchumsogi. Juchumsogi posture is achieved by keeping the tops of your feet parallel about 2 feet length apart, standing low. These are the 13 key moves of Taegeuk Chiljang. We will now look at the moves in succession, connecting each move. The key moves of Taegeuk Chiljang first part consist of 오른 바탕손 안맞기, 오른 앞차기, and wen 안맞기, wen 바탕손 안맞기, wen 앞차기, and 오른 안맞기, wen 손날 고드로 아래맞기, and 오른 손날 고드로 아래맞기. Shift your weight to your right foot from 준비 자세. Turn left using the right ball of your foot and assume the bomsogi posture. Start the preparatory move for anmaki while bending your knee, using the momentum from apchagi, and complete the momtong maki, move the moment your heel touches the ground, followed by the ball of the forward kicking foot. Shift your weight to your front leg, and at the same time spin your torso clockwise, using the left ball of your foot as an axis to perform the preparatory moves for patangson anmaki. Then spin and set your foot in line with the direction of progression and complete batangson anmaki. Shift your weight to your hind leg. Perform wen duikubi by spinning your torso using the left ball of your foot and setting your right foot. Cautions for Taegeuk Chiljang. First part, taking a closer look. When spinning 180 degrees and setting your foot from wen bomsogi to oren bomsogi, be careful not to overdo the switch to your right foot with your left foot fixed. When performing diki and doradiki, it is important to understand the coordination between moving the center of the body and spinning with the torso. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Chiljang, first part, in succession with watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Chiljang, second part, consist of 오른 고드로 바탕손 안맞기, 오른 고드로 등중목 앞치기, 왼 고드로 바탕손 안맞기, 왼 고드로 등중목 앞치기, and 보주목. After 고드로 바탕손 안맞기, perform the preparatory move as if you're pulling your blocking hand to your opposite ear. The back of the striking hand should face the ear and your elbow should not move away from the back of the hand of the assisting arm. The target for 등중목 앞치기 is the opponent's philtrum. The elbow of the striking arm should not move outward. Be careful not to lose balance due to your upper body swerving front and back, left and right. Cautions for Taegeuk Chiljang, second part, taking a closer look. When performing godoro battangson anmaki, you should block as if you're pulling your elbows towards your body. When performing godoro dungjumok apchigi, your elbows should not move outward. And be careful not to lose balance due to excessive swerving of your upper body. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Chiljang, second part, in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Chiljang, third part, consist of kawimaki and kawimaki, 헤쳐맞기, 오른 무릎 오려치기, and 두주목 젖젖 찌르기, 엇걸어 아래맞기, 헤쳐맞기, 왼 무릎 오려치기, and 두주목 젖젖 찌르기, and 엇걸어 아래맞기. Kawimaki is a technique used to block by transferring and distributing force to both arms. The kawimaki and kawimaki performed in succession is the first move of Taegeuk Chiljang third part and should be repeated twice from the same sogi posture respectively. When first performing kawimaki from wen apgubi, perform oren aremaki and wen anparmok bakalmaki. Then, complete the wen apgubi kawimaki by following it with wen aremaki and oren anparmok bakalmaki in succession. Next, set your foot with oren apgubi, perform wen aremaki and oren anparmok bakalmaki, and complete oren apgubi kawimaki by performing oren aremaki and wen anparmok bakalmaki. We will now connect the kawimaki moves. 두주목 젖혀 지르기. This move is used to hold and pull an opponent's neck or head and attack an opponent's face or torso with your knee at the same time. First, open your hands so they face each other, then pull them down. It is more effective if you pull your fists down to the ankle of the kicking foot. When you hold and pull an opponent down, you can exert more force if you pull your wrists downward. The pulling down of your opponent and murupchigi should be performed simultaneously. When initiating the preparatory moves for 엇걸어 aremaki from the right side, make a diagonal loop by moving the right wrist up and left wrist down. When initiating from the left side, do the opposite and make a diagonal loop by moving the left wrist up and right wrist down. Both wrists should be placed in front of the lower abdomen, and both elbows should be tightened inward. Cautions for Taegeuk Chiljang, third part, taking a closer look. Be careful not to move the upper body excessively when performing gawimaki in succession. When performing murupchigi, do not pull while the back of your hands are facing upward. During okuro aremaki, do not straighten your elbow or let your armpit detach from your body. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Chiljang, third part, in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Chiljang, fourth part, consist of 왼 등주먹 바깥치기, 오른 표적차기, and 오른 팔꿈치 표적치기. 오른 등주먹 바깥치기, 왼 표적차기, and 왼 팔꿈치 표적치기, 왼 옆맞기, and 오른 옆지르기. In order to connect the last move of Taegeuk Chiljang, third part, that you just learned, 왼 앞굽이 okuro aremaki, to the first move of Taegeuk Chiljang, fourth part, 왼 등주먹 바깥치기, the preparatory move must be performed first by crossing the left arm over the right arm so it is placed on the right shoulder. Then perform 등주먹 바깥치기 at shoulder height by utilizing the spin of the torso. The elbow should straighten naturally, and be careful not to let the back of the fist move away from the end of your shoulder line. 표적차기 is a technique used to kick a target with the back of the foot blade. During 팔꿈치 표적치기, the target must not wrap around the elbow. It is important to perform 표적차기 and 표적치기 in succession. This is how you connect 표적치기 and 등주먹 바깥치기. Raise your posture by straightening the knees from the 주춤서기 position. Change direction by moving and setting the right foot at the same time. Then perform 등주먹 바깥치기 using the spin of the torso. The right foot transitions to 앞서기, and the left foot is pulled slightly as your center moves forward. Cautions for Taegeuk Chiljang, fourth part, taking a closer look. Be careful not to bend the elbow when performing 등주먹 바깥치기. The target is the palm of the hand when performing 표적치기. Be careful not to let the target move. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Chiljang, fourth part, in succession while watching the video. This concludes the training for Taegeuk Chiljang. We will take another look at all the moves and master Pumse. We will now take a look at the Pumse of Taegeuk Paljang. Taegeuk Paljang consists of 6 key moves, namely 두발 당성차기, 고드로 바깥막기, 외선 들막기, 당겨 지르기, 고드로 아래막기, and 뛰어 앞차기. These are the 6 key moves of Taegeuk Paljang. We will now take a closer look at each of the key moves of Taegeuk Paljang. 두발 당성차기 is a kicking technique where you jump and perform 2 mid-air kicks in succession. The first 발차기 lightly kicks a target at the torso level, and the second 발차기 kicks a target higher with the other foot. 고드로 바깥막기 is a technique to block with your hands with help from the assisting hand. The fist blocking the torso should be placed at the solar plexus level, while assisting hand is placed level with the blocking elbow. Be careful not to let the blocking hand move outside the outer line of the body. Do not let the assisting armpit detach from the body. 외선 들막기 is a technique where your arms are crossed in front of your chest. The inner arm blocks the lower body, and the outer arm performs 얼굴 안팔목 바깥막기. The wrist of the arm performing 안팔목 얼굴 바깥막기 should be level with the philtrum, while the arm performing 아래막기 should be about 2 raised fists apart from your adjacent leg. The elbow of the arm performing 안팔목 얼굴 바깥막기 should face downward. The eyes should point in the direction of the arm performing 아래 바깥막기. 당겨 지르기 is a technique used mostly to strike the chin by pulling an opponent's clothing. The jirugi starts at the chest line with the fist pulled back. The fist performing jirugi passes by the wrist being pulled back and reaches the target. Be careful not to let the hammer fist touch the front of the shoulder performing jirugi. Also, be careful not to let the fist start at the back and perform jirugi upward, like chijirugi. When performing godoro aremaki, the blocking hand should maintain a space of 2 raised fists above the knee set forward. The assisting hand should be level with the elbow that performs aremaki. 뛰어 앞차기 is a technique used to jump and perform 앞차기 mid-air. The kick must complete at the peak of your jump. These are the 6 key moves of Taegeuk Paljang. We will now look at the moves in succession connecting each move. The key moves of Taegeuk 발장, first part, consist of 왼 고드로 바깥막기, 오른 지르기, 두발 당성 차기, and 왼 안막기, and double jirugi, and 오른 jirugi. When connecting from the first move, 왼 고드로 바깥막기 to 몸통 jirugi, you must perform the preparatory move of pulling the right fist back. After the first kick of 두발 당성 차기, bend your kicking leg, then continue with the next 발차기. Prepare for the 왼 안막기 once your right foot touches the ground. Quickly connect with 왼 안막기 and double jirugi the moment your left foot touches the ground. Cautions for Taegeuk 발장, first part, taking a closer look. Shout the moment you perform the second 발차기 during 두발 당선 차기. Do not pull your right fist back and perform jirugi when connecting from 왼 고드로 바깥막기 to 몸통 jirugi. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk 발장, first part, in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk 발장, second part, consist of 외산 들막기, 오른 당겨 지르기, 외산 들막기, 왼 당겨 지르기, 왼 손날 막기, 오른 지르기, 오른 앞차기, and 오른 바탕손 안막기. The first performing jirugi should face upward and placed between your solar plexus and chest line. Then pulling arm should be free from unnecessary force and placed level with the shoulder line. Twist your torso and pull your arm. Then slowly perform 당겨 jirugi by exerting force. Shift your weight to your right foot. Then pass your left foot in front of your right foot to assume the 앞고아서기 posture. When connecting to 왼손을 고드라막기, after performing 당겨 jirugi, shift your weight to your left foot. Spin your body 90 degrees counterclockwise, then pull your right foot backwards. After performing 오른 앞차기, return the kicking leg to where it was before the kick, like you're reclaiming it. Then, set your left foot one step backward. Immediately pull your right foot towards your left foot, then perform 오른 범서기 and 오른 바탕손 안막기. Cautions for Taegeuk 발장, second part, taking a closer look. When performing 외산 들막기, your feet should stand diagonal to 품새's progress line. Be careful not to disconnect the moves that connect 앞차기 to 물러디뎌 바탕손 안막기. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk 발장, second part, in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk 발장, third part, consist of 왼손날 고드로 막기, 왼 앞차기 and 오른 지르기, 왼 바탕손 안막기, 오른 손날 고드로 막기, 오른 앞차기 and 왼 지르기. and 오른 파당손 안마기. Perform 안차기 and jurugi in succession. Move the body center back transition to bomsogi, then perform anmaki. Slowly repeat after me. Shift your weight to your front leg, and at the same time spin your torso clockwise using your left ball. Then perform the preparatory Oren Sonna Godoromaki move. Complete the Sonna Godoromaki move by spinning and setting the left foot in the direction of progression. Cautions for Taegeuk Paljang, third part, taking a closer look. When spinning and setting your foot from the Wen Bomsogi to Oren Bomsogi, do not overset your right foot and spin your torso with your fixed left foot. Such turns stiffen the body and can cause injury to the knees. You must understand the coordination between moving the center of the body and spinning the torso when performing dikki and doradikki. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Paljang, third part, in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taegeuk Paljang, fourth part, consist of Godoro Are Maki, Wen Apchagi, Oren Dio Apchagi, Oren Anmaki, Double Jurugi, Wen Sonar Pakatmaki, Oren Palkumchi Doryochigi, Oren Tungjumok Apchigi, Wen Jurugi, Oren Sonar Pakatmaki, Wen palkumchi doryochigi, wen dungjumok apchigi, and oren jirugi. After wen apchagi, bend your knee, jump with your right leg, and continue with the oren duyo apchagi. Shout at the same time while performing oren duyo apchagi. Land after performing duyo apchagi. Then naturally connect to anmaki and double jirugi. Open your chest while performing palgumchi doryochigi. Then target the area slightly above the shoulder. Turn the torso that twisted during palgumchi doryochigi to the opposite direction and continue with dungjumok apchigi. Then use the movement of the pelvis to complete the move with jirugi. Concentrate on the coordination of the three moves. Cautions for Taegeuk Paljang, fourth part, taking a closer look. When performing duyo apchagi, be careful not to perform apchagi by relying on the rebound from the front kicking foot moving up and down. We will now practice the moves of Taegeuk Paljang, fourth part, in succession while watching the video. This concludes training for Taegeuk Paljang. The only thing remaining is to become a belt holder. We will take another look at all the moves and master Pumse.